Hello, hello. How's it going? Happy Friday, everybody. We're going to continue doing some Tauri. We last time dug into using multiple windows within our Tauri app. So we have buttons, a button that spawns an additional Tauri window, and you continue to click it and you get more windows. I guess it's not a Tauri window, it's a OS window. Um, and the concept that we were going off of is we have an app that spawns windows, and you can use those windows to cover parts of your screen. And when you're taking a screenshot, you can basically like pre-redact a screenshot. It's a fun little concept though to kind of play around with the different aspects of multiple windows. So let's go ahead and go pop over to our display here. Got the repo up, and we've got the code last time committed that we worked on last time committed. So feel free to give that a visit. I'm actually not even signed in. I guess I don't care that much. We might actually set this up to publish. I think this is actually reasonably useful, and you know we can get something small working, and if others want to add some CSS or make it look nicer or whatever, I think we'll go for it. I don't see a reason to kind of not make it publicly available. Let's start the app though and see what we have. So essentially we do this and it creates a window and it gives us a draggable element, and now we can use it as a way to like cover parts of our screen, in which we could then take a screenshot. So like if I don't want to share the URL or something and I just wanted to show this. And this is actually a window within our app. So we now have two windows available. I think we are currently logging out. If we look at the tab. Hey Ben, good to see you. So here we can see that we've got a window, and we have an ID for the window, and we can spawn as many of these as we want. Oop, I actually closed it. I gotta click the create button to make more. So we can make multiple sets of these windows, and we can, at the current moment, make them any square-ish polygon that we want to. Potentially we could do something more with that, but I don't know if that's something that's going to be worthwhile doing on stream. You can do with our CSS, we can have the background transparent. So the scene that you see right now, and if we do one of these here, let's drop some shares. Me personally, no, this is a window. I can't see behind it. That's interesting for streaming though, isn't that? I see where you're going with that, Ben. That is an interesting concept. Gears are turning. I don't know if you can hear them grinding on your end, but they're definitely going on my end. The idea here though is just if you take a screenshot, it's gonna basically black out part of your screen. Thinking of web dev streamers who don't. Yeah, I saw where you're going with that. That's a very interesting idea. This is kind of a conceptual thing just to explore what we can do with Tauri apps in multiple windows. But like I could see it actually being useful for doing screenshots, but also like that is kind of an interesting concept. I don't know how we would. I've got thoughts. I've got thoughts. So there's things like being able to within the Tauri app track cursor position. And we can also get information about the window itself, I believe. If we go over to the, where would that be? Probably multi-window section might have something about it. No, I want the API. I want the API reference. So we can get, we can get the physical position of a window. We can also do any type of communication that we want. We could, from an app, run a server that gives you a web page. I mean, we're getting into streaming in OBS here. So back up just a little bit. OBS is very common, and there's other flavors of it, but OBS is a very common program that streamers use to combine pieces of visuals and scenes and media and camera into a single thing that you can send off to a streaming service. OBS Studio, if you haven't heard of it. Not saying you, Ben, but others watching. I know you're up to date on this. And one of the features within OBS Studio is to actually use a browser source. So you can put within OBS, you can add a URL to a web page that it'll show on the stream. So the chairs that fell down before, that is a web page with a 3GS WebGL scene that hooks into the Twitch API and chat and shows that. This chat right here, Ben started up this thing. If you're a streamer on Twitch only, I believe, and you want to chat, that looks very, very cool like this. This works great. So at the end of the day, you are giving OBS a URL. We could have an app that does starts a local server, and that local server can serve a web page that your OBS could hook into. That app could track window locations. We could potentially set it up where we have basically two versions of this almost. One that's like the window where I can position windows, and one that is a web page and represents what I'm seeing on my screen. You'd have to do some like conversions with monitor sizes and depending on how you have your screen configured and whatnot. But you could potentially do that where we get the physical size of the window and the position, and we can effectively map that into a web page that you could put as an overlay. That's a really interesting idea. So I've seen people do it a couple different ways. Heavy blur, not a bad way. There's some types of blurs can actually be like unblurred, and you can AI upscaling, whatever, blah blah blah, actually get some of that information back. So depending on how you, yeah, and that's why you downscale before blurring. Yep. Um, the so like you have to also be just in general you have to be careful on even just blurring. So some people just straight up go to, they're like, I'm gonna do secrets. I'm just gonna be on the screen until I'm done with them, which also works. So there's a couple different ways you can get around it, but in all of it you end up losing a little bit of the context there. So I can see where you're going with wanting to hide parts of the screen. There is definitely still the like, um, if I click on a button here, I don't know where the thing that I am worried about is going to show up. So like it could be showing up down here. So I would want to put it over here. But depending on the window size, that thing could actually be further down or something. Or if you scroll, yeah. So like conceptually, it's an interesting idea. At the end of the day, though, implementation wise, I think we can make implementation wise happen. And I would actually kind of like to play around with Tauri apps and have them basically serve a web page or communicate with your OBS instance, because I think there's some interesting use cases there. But as far as a way to kind of redact part of the screen where you can see it, I think we can make it technically happen, but there's still you're putting a lot on the user to put the window in the right position. Yeah, and hiding the full screen is probably the most robust. I think it's definitely an interesting concept though. And see, like with resizing it too, you can see it kind of jumps, and I think that's going to be very like OS dependent on how. And I, so like if I'm trying to hide that developer docs there, and I go, well, I only need to hide this part of it. It's still an interesting idea though. I'm definitely going to say don't write that off. Um, and I think there's things you could potentially do with that concept. But as far as this goes, kind of focusing more on screenshots only for right now. And it's a little bit more of a demo thing, but if people find it useful and we get people other than just me committing to it, then we'll keep going with the concept. But we can create as many windows as we want. We can close all the windows. CSS could use a little bit of help there. But what we want to do today is, right now we click the button, it makes a black window. That's hard coded. We want to add a color picker. And we'll probably have to do a little bit of changing of our HTML/CSS here to add in a color picker. And right now it's just a single button, so we'll need to work on that a little bit. But we also then need to push that information and communicate to the window that you have opened. So if I change the color to red, I need that window to reflect that. And right now that's also hard-coded. So I think that's what we're going to try to knock out today. So this is the straight HTML for the moment. Hard-coded black background window that pops open. So we need to somehow communicate to this HTML with the window to change the color. And there's potentially a couple of ways we can do it, I think. So when we do a window in the web view on the JavaScript side of things, these are the things that we can do with it effectively. Get current. So you can get the current web view window. Interesting. So we got information about the size and position, logical and physical position. We've looked in that in the, I guess, far past at this point. But it's something to do with the scaling of the monitor or something like that. I don't quite remember. I think we should probably interdocs point to information about that, because there's different reasons to use logical or physical. But once we have the window, we can do... I don't actually see the function here, though. We can do emit. So we can emit an event to the backend. And so this is strictly just to the backend. But I think we can web view emit. Where would that be? I think we can also send an event to a window. So we have emit, and that emits an event to the backend. And we might end up having to go through a little bit of Rust to do this. For this situation, I want to try to stay in the web view / JavaScript as much as possible, and I'm going to hold the state there. We can also do probably a good amount of this in Rust. We have a little bit of flexibility there. But I think in this specific case, I want to try to keep as much of it in the web view as possible. Hey, B1Mind, good to see you. So this is specifically emitting an event to the backend. I thought we could emit an event to a specific window. And maybe that is only from the Rust side of things. And that's not the end of the world. I think we can kind of use the Rust, think of it as the backend, and we can basically have one window talk to the backend, and that backend like forward the message to another window. If you're unfamiliar with Tauri, the web view side of things is pretty agnostic, and you kind of just need HTML, CSS, and JS. However you get it there doesn't matter that much, which means something like SvelteKit or Svelte, we're using Preact in this case. Basically anything that's not terribly backend server, how should I say this? Anything that tends to be more client side or more purely HTML with JavaScript, depending on, can work. So the situations where it starts to make less sense to use a framework in Tauri would be where you are writing your code in a way that you're coupling server-side type things and your front end together, and their build process separates those out. So we did an experiment with Remix when it first went open source, and you tend to write both of the backend code and the front end code in the same space, and their process, when it bundles it basically splitting those two up, which is fine. I mean, that's framework choice, but it means you kind of end up having to have a plugin to make that work, because you would need that backend with the expectation that it's written in Node to be transpiled into, I don't know, a Node sidecar maybe, which wouldn't be great. Like, you're not using the Rust that comes directly with Tauri. You could maybe do some translation into Rust if it's simple, but it's one of those things that starts to make less sense than your other options out there. So, anyways, communication between windows. I'm not seeing anything as far as communicating directly with a window. So I can do an emit to the backend. We get events when it is created or throws an error. We are what's the code that we're doing to create the window itself? So we're doing new web view window. And that ends up giving us the window manager. Manage the current window object. Can we do anything more with the window manager? Let's go ahead and open up and check out the code here. So listen once, emit. Most of the docs, at least on the API side, are tied to, for the TypeScript / JavaScript side of things, are tied via TypeDoc still, I believe. At least when I first set it up, that's what we were doing, and I think we're still doing that. So they should be pretty current. But I want to just confirm. So it seems like the only option that we have is to emit to the backend. I think it probably makes sense to expand that concept and emit to a separate web view window, as long as you have the handle. And we do have some functions in here that aren't, like, we might be losing some information in this process. I feel like not all of these functions are actually listed here. And some of this might actually be, oh no, I guess it's pointing to a specific commit. So this should be current with what I'm looking at. So position, focus icon. Let's search for event on resized. So if we keep our state in the web view in the main window, anytime that changes, we're going to want to communicate to the window that it has changed. But all of these events seem to be specifically tied to that window. So I don't know that that's going to help us much. So I think we end up going through Rust, the Rust layer, and communicate to the Rust layer that we have a color change event, and then that needs to forward it to the correct window. So when we do a new web view window, this is being created with an ID. So we're setting an ID, and we now have that ID in our React state. And we've got the code also to remove the window. So we're going through the state and just updating the state and calling web view close on that before we remove it from our state. So this list and this list of buttons effectively is representing the state of all of our windows. So as part of the create window, we can create the window and just keep it set color, and then we can do another event that is basically changing the color of the window. And then in that event, communicate to the Rust side of things, and Rust can then communicate back to the window in question. So let's do, I don't know if any of folks in chat have a good one in mind, but color picker. We can probably hook up a color picker here quick to give the user ease of access to pick a specific color to use. And on that line, it would be really cool to do like the color grab. So get like a handle to the cursor and find, I don't know if you take a screenshot under the cursor or something, but find the color that whatever your cursor is. So like if I wanted to match this bar right here, I could do like a color grabber, whatever you call it, grab this color and have that window match that exact color. So I think we can do it two ways. The color grabber is probably going to be a little bit more involved, but I think we can do a color picker first. I imagine there's going to be an npm package that we can just pull it in. Published 2 years ago. Ideally, something that is, I mean, that seems pretty good. React color pickers from Sketch. Oh, a fork of React color. Okay. That doesn't seem bad. React colorful. This does specifically say Preact, which I think is, and it's pretty simple too. Oh, this is. Oh, see what I'm seeing there? I like that. Transparency. We can make the window have it be like an opaque window, which would be really nifty. Let's try this. Do they have a demo page or something? Website. I mean, I think that's gonna be. I think that's gonna check all of our boxes here. So let's go ahead and install that quick. Do we have all this in the root? Yeah. Okay. I couldn't remember if our words are hard today. Our package manager, node package manager stuff was in the root or not. So go ahead and install that. I think we want to stick with hex, so I believe we can just grab this. It's got the use state in there already, which is nice. And hex color picker. And we're just going to throw it on the bottom so we can see it in use. And it starts off with a state already. So we'll do npm run Tauri dev, get things started back up. Oh, I can increase the size of this a little bit. I always forget to do that. I really need to set up a streamer profile for VS Code. Okay, look at that. File picker. Or a color picker, rather. Now how do we... So that gives us a state. So now we have a color. So we can hook this up to... How do we do that? Right now we just have a button. We almost have to have a state per... I think we need to hook this up and have a state per window. So we've got color black. So we have it in there already. So I think what we do is div close. We're gonna throw our color picker directly in there. This is going to end up being window.color. And on change, we need to then set that. So we'll say set window color. And it's going to be very similar to the remove, but we're just going to be modifying the state instead. So instead of removing the window, we're going to be setting the color. Well, I guess it's still set windows. Yep, it's still set windows. We're going to find the ID, and we're still logging it out. That's fine. So we get our web view. We don't actually need access to the web view itself. Here, what we're doing is we're filtering it out and removing it. So now instead of filtering it, we want to modify it. So I think what we do is we just map over it, and when it matches, then we modify it. So we can do if our window ID matches our, if our window.id matches the window ID. So the window ID from the event matches in our loop. And then we're just going to return the window. So if they match, then we want to say the color. And we need to set so set color, where is that coming from? Or what does that end up doing? So they're calling that event. So we don't need the web view, but we do want to see what the event is. That should be fine. So if we click this, we're going to get into a window. CSS still needs a little work because when we create a new one, we're going to keep getting those. But that is fine for right now. Now let's look at this. So anytime we change the color, we're going to get a callback that says an error. So it's trying to find. All right, let's get the event. Got it. So our event is strictly just returning the color. I wonder if we're getting anything else. It might be doing like a function bind thing where we get more than, like we get multiple args. Nope, it's undefined. So we're just getting the color back. I don't really like doing the dot bind, but we might be limited in our choices of how to handle this. We do have to be a little bit careful because if I refresh, we lose our state, and that actually ends up orphaning some of these windows. It's not the end of the world, but I'll just move it off on the side. So we're still getting undefined. Okay, we're going to do a function to a function. So this should be the color. Or no, this should be the window ID. I think this is going to work. All right. DevTools. We change this. Oh, yeah, okay, of course. Cannot access. We've got it redefined. I don't think it's liking that. Okay, there we go. A little bit awkward. We're doing like multiple functions there, but it's not the end of the world. So we get our window ID and our color. We need the window ID because we need to communicate back to the other, or back to the REST backend through to our window to actually change the color. And still got like a cold or something that's been hanging around for a while. I feel like I've got a smoker's cough or something here. Okay, so we got the window ID, the color. What we want to do is if the window ID is there, then we're going to set the color. Yeah, lingering cold is the worst. Yeah. Yeah. What can you do though? So if they match, then we're gonna modify the color. So we want to say window.color equals color. This will be the color that's coming out of the color picker. And then what we can do is we want to be able to represent that somehow. So let's just say style equals background color, I guess. That might be fine, at least for the moment. And we can do window.color. Look at that. It looks like we have not enabled the so this is a hex color picker. We want transparency. Usage with React. Preset colors, popover picker. Oh, they got some style sheet stuff, which is nice. Oh, here we go. How to use other color models. I guess hex alpha color picker. I'm presuming that that's gonna work here. So now where this gets interesting, we can I guess it's on our container. Where would I change this? All right, let's look at our CSS here. So we've got it's got a little it might look a little funky, but what we can do is we can make the background of the web view transparent. Now I gotta remember where that is. Window config, I believe. Transparent. So that'll be in our Tauri config, and this is setting the config for the window of the main window that's opening up. So this is going to be within the window config transparent. Windows. Transparent. True. Configuration change, the Tauri builder picks up that change, closes the windows for you, and actually ends up rebuilding the Rust side of things. We're going to end up, let's center it too while we're at it. Center true. So now what this ends up doing is browsers have built-in styles. So especially if you've been around web dev for a while, there's been various iterations of reset style CSS scripts or CSS bundles. And the idea is that every browser ends up having a slightly different default set of styles. Our web viewer does as well. So if we don't set a background color, we pick up the built-in styles. This transparent, what it's doing is it's basically saying, hey, that default background color, we actually want to make that transparent. There is this slightly annoying, but it is what it is. There's not much we can do with that situation. So what we have going on now is we've got a default color that is set. Where's our CSS? App CSS. Style CSS. We have a background color. And we have button background color, and here's our root color. I think if we, let's just comment it out. Now it's falling back to the root. Comment. It is white. Do we have any other? Oh, here. Button. I don't think the buttons matter. I don't know if this matters or not. I think that's the only place that that color could be coming in. Because this is specific with some logos, and that's the only CSS that we have. I feel like there was another thing that we're forgetting to do. Decorations. What if it's a decorations? We're gonna change this and make it So it's definitely reflecting that color. So it's using that color. I don't know if that respects. It definitely seems like it's still falling back to the browser color. Let's go ahead and just cancel and we'll reload it just to make sure. There was something else I think that we had to change to get this to work last time, and I'm not remembering. We might have it in the playground. It's possible that I committed it up to this. Resizable, so there's the transparent true, center true, could very well be decorations, but that feels odd. Um, So this is specifically changing Windows specific coloring. We can add blurs via this package, window vibrancy. And that's where we were playing around with it. It could be that we need to do decorations. Let's just give that a shot real quick, because I vaguely remember that being related. So the decorations, that toggle shows the window Chrome, the native window Chrome. If you turn it off, you need to handle that same functionality in your app itself, because you will literally have no way to close the window. And that, oh, hey, there we go. Okay. Can you see it? That's because of the decorations. So I think that was the key here. So if we turn this up just a little bit here, there. So it was the window decorations, but now we don't have a way to close, and we don't have the drag bar on the top, so we don't have a good way to drag it either. We can, for the time being, deal with that. There's this data Tauri drag region. We can make just our whole app draggable. I think we just chuck it here for the moment. That should give us something that's draggable. Is it doing it? App. It did not do it. Oh, because we probably need to actually put it on a div. We might need to add something that's higher up the stack. There we go. So it's at least draggable now. That'll be fine for the moment. So now what ends up happening is we can go like this. If it works. Clearly it's not. So we got something wrong there. But you can see how that can end up reflecting here. Let's update our CSS here. We are going to go back to kind of a gray, I guess. And then with our color picker, let's get this transparency working. So let's look at the console log. So we're getting an N in there somehow. Oh, I think I just tore from the window. I did. So we got a window. We'll click a different color. That's still fine. If we click this, that's still fine. Oh. Okay, so that's working, but we need to make sure that we need to do like sections here. I think that's going to be kind of the situation. We want to do, and we'll see how well my semantic HTML. See what I remember picking up from watching all the Ben streams. We have a container. We are going to do a section, and this is actually let's call it a nav. We are we are going to do a fragment. I think we can just do a straight fragment in here. I think it supports that syntax. So React requires you to have only a single child of a return statement. So if you want to do multiple sibling elements, you need to wrap it in what they call a fragment, which is kind of like a placeholder div that actually doesn't get rendered. So we got our nav. Let's do a section. That should give us 2 sections here. So now we have a draggable here. That's not draggable because we only have draggable on this top level here. We can do, I don't know what those classes are set up to do, but okay, that doesn't look too bad. Let's look at our CSS. Okay, so we got a couple things in there. We have the background color set on the root. We are going to change that though. We don't want the background color set on the root. We're just going to remove it. So we do want to change the text color. I'm going to leave the text color change in there because that's nice to have at the root, but I'm going to remove the background color. And we're not going to set the background color at all as part of the root. So now we've got something that's draggable. And there we go. So we need to put background color on those other 2 elements. Do we have a nav in here? So we'll say a nav is going to be background color. Come on, color picker. Yeah, something like that is probably fine. So now we have a little bit of spacing in here. Let's take a look at our CSS. So we got the nav. This container's got a bunch of padding on it. And that's where we end up getting that like empty hole effectively. We're gonna take that off. I think I'm just gonna put it on the section itself. Margin, no padding on the top. Display flex, that works. Okay. So our create button is actually slightly interesting. Where's our other buttons? Button. Background color, sure. Okay. It's looking pretty decent. We actually do have, you can kind of see in how it highlights. We've got, this is the top of the app up here. We have color that goes all the way down. We get into our section. And then actually below the section is still window. So if I try to highlight, I can't actually highlight in VS Code because I'm still in the WebView window. So we do want to like get that color to extend down there as well. So we'll throw a footer in there. Pretty much the same CSS. We do want the drag region on there. And we'll end up doing like a sticky footer kind of thing. Guess I really don't need any content in there at the moment. So we need to do like a sticky footer. I think I've got code on my personal website that I can grab. And do we wrap the whole thing? I guess I put it on the body. Maybe I just put it on the root. That might be the way to go. We're flexing the CSS muscles today. Where do I have that? Is that in the page wrapper maybe? Flex. I got Tailwind in here. Yeah, so I think maybe I end up just adding this to the root. And we can do a flex. What does that end up giving us? And then we've got a nav section. Footer. Oh. Display flex is what I meant to do. And this should be flex grow. So it's putting it in the root. We do need to do a flex direction, I believe. Flex direction should be column. So now we got width. Our window ends up being the whole height. We've got a nav, section, footer. So the footer has some padding in there. Margin 0, display, direct. Oh, I bet you that's because I put class container in there. Yep. I'm just going to take that off for now. And we need some color on it. I don't think I need any of that on there either at the moment. We're going to move this up because these sort of tie together. So we want the footer to be as big as to fill out the rest of the window. So I think our flex is still not quite working. Section, div react colorful. Oh, here we go. So this is our HTML overlay. Nav container, section. Where's our footer? What if we actually need content in the footer? I'm not good enough with my CSS to just know offhand. I mean, it puts it in there. but it's still not growing all the way to the bottom. And there is, you can see there's a little bit of outline there. We do still have a little bit of margin and such. So let's go ahead and on the root, margin 0. Padding 0. Ah, that's on the body. Do we have we just have a root. Okay, let's move these into another section and we'll do body. Why aren't you formatting it for me? That would be appreciated. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Container section. We click one of these. It's going to open up a window. But we still have this empty. It is still not fully filling the full window. So I think we want to, in our root, set height to be, I think it's 100 VH. We might have to play around with that a little bit. Okay, it gives us some color coding for a region now. So our HTML is 100%. But I guess really we want it on the body? I guess we want it on the app. So our app ends up being, I guess it ends up being this full thing. We are doing our flex on the root. So I guess if I put it on the body, we make the body this, and then we do this rather than on the root. So in this case, now we only have, if I put it on the body, we only have the app. So that's the only element in this flex. So I really need to put it on that div app itself. In which case, it might very well make sense to hard code it here. Feels a bit funky. But we can do it. So now we set a style directly on the div, and that div is what ends up getting populated in the app. So now this is going to have height 100, and then we have flex for each one of these. So now if we set the footer flex grow, I don't remember what the I'm gonna have to look up the flex article. Flex auto E. So now that represents the whole app. If I go to the actual corner of the app, it is literally the corner window here. This is a drag region. This is a drag region. And when I click the button, we're going to get a new window, and I can actually make this whole section we're getting the nans again. Where's that coming from? It's from start. Okay, there, yeah, it's from start. So if I don't select it, there you go. So like you get a preview window of it almost, which is kind of cool. I like it. That's pretty dope. The layout and stuff on here is still awkward, but we can deal with that. I think I could take out the content there. I don't need anymore. Yep. The initial state is not working. And it may be because we have a string that's just says black. Whoop. There we go. So if we start it with the words black, that somewhere in that state conversion stuff, it's not actually properly converting it to hex when you just add the alpha's transparency, which is fine. I'm okay just saying 000. So now we can set color. We can set color. We can do this. We get the transparency. Now we need to communicate it to that window. And I think we've accomplished everything that we wanted to do for the day. We need some celebratory channel point redemptions. Nudge, nudge, hint, hint. I got to make those easier to drop a whole bunch of stuff because I think it's more fun when more things fall. It's the little things. Physics, I tell you. I enjoy it. Okay. Come on up, Cat. Come say hi. Come on. Nice, nice. I really need to make those stars yellow. Every time I see that, I go, oh, I forgot to do that. And it bugs me. Say hi, kitty. Say hi, bamboo. No, not gonna talk? There you go. Hi. Okay. Communication. It seems that we have to go through the Rust layer, which is not the end of the world. We have done it before. In I guess it was our previous mini project here, mini Tauri project. So let's go to, I think there's an events. We could probably grab most of the code from here. We need to do a few things. We need to, on the back end, listen for events. We could, I got hair everywhere. We've got a couple ways we can emit the events back out. We can emit it to a specific web view. If that web view window has been closed or we get into some weird state, we might end up running into errors where we're trying to communicate to a window that doesn't exist. If we just do emit all, we can put in the window event payload, which window it's specifically applying to. So we could just sort of shotgun approach, send it to everything, and if the window ID matches, then that window will change its color. And I think that's probably going to be the safest way to do it, and potentially the quickest as well. So from the front end, we can emit an event. So let's go ahead and get that going. So here we're doing our set window. So this is actually going to set it, and then this gives us our next state. So then we want to do Kitty's licking my green screen. Yes, I know you want attention. Come up here then. Come on. I think she's passive aggressively licking my green screen to get me to give her attention. Animals. We'll do one hand typing for the moment. So we need to do our yeah. Mm-hmm. Where's it doesn't show me the I was gonna make the pop-up thing for the emoji. But it won't let me do it. It'll only do words, I guess. That. I was gonna do the laughy face. Yes. Okay, so we want to emit an event. We can just use the current window. And emit event that's only visible to the current window. Oh, what? We can emit an event directly to a window. I thought we could do it, but it definitely did not make that clear here. So if we do app window, or where's the emit? I don't even see the emit here now. Event. Emit. Emits an event to the backend. So this is specifically on the event API. If we have a window handler, I guess we can call an emit. But I don't see it here. Interesting. I thought I remembered seeing that we could do that. So if we've got from the event API, we have emit and listen. We can use emit, and that'll send it to the backend. If we have a specific window, we can emit directly to it. So let's actually do that, because we have, or we can get a handle to the window, which we did right here. So here we'll get a window ID, and then we're logging the next state. This will give us the window, so we can do, I don't know if we need to await this, but web view.emit, and we can emit an event. Sure enough. So we can emit an event and give it a message, I guess. So we'll say window color change. And color is going to be the thing that we pass. It specifically does say message here. We might have to call it call it message. Look at my green screen. A goofy kitty. I thought my music just stopped there for a second. Okay, so this should give us an event on that window. So now we need to do the other side of things. We need to listen for it. And we are using purely HTML. But that's fine because and I actually have text in there. That's sort of funny. I'm gonna get rid of the most of the body stuff here, and we can do script, and let's do a console.log window. Getting hair everywhere, cat. Okay. Unable to parse HTML. Does it really need a closing? Unable to parse. Oh, no. Do I really have to? Is that a requirement? Okay. So now if we go over to one of our windows, we do have a couple orphaned ones here, so I'm just going to close them. We can open the dev tools for just the window here. And now we are logging out the window object. And there's sort of two ways you can use the Tauri APIs. We have a package, so you can use the package, and then you kind of get the normal bundler. It just ends up rolling up into whatever bundler setup you're using. Or we can have it injected on the window object. Is that the default? Or I don't remember if we need to turn that on or not. Let's see. That's Rust, invoke. Ah, here we go. This is what I was expecting. With global Tauri. Now, I don't know if that's available on the window itself. So we might just need to enable it for everything, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah, so if we do create new web view window, I'm not seeing it actually on there. So I think we kind of just need to enable it for everything, because we do want it available. And this is doing an invoke command. I mean, it's fine. We'll just grab this, copy, paste, and edit. What did I change here? So we have pretty much the same APIs now available on the window object. Oh, whoop. Come on. We don't need to call a command or anything like that. We're strictly just going to be listening. So let's do if we go back to our events, we should be able to copy some code to listen for an event. So let's just get rid of this. There's no top level await, so we do need to do this promise. I'm going to cheat and do this. At least I don't. We might actually be able to do top level await in the browser now. I don't remember. Let's try it. Let's try it. It should tell us if we can't do that. So what we want to do now is we are going to be getting an event called a window color change. And we should be able to say, let's log this event out and see what it says. Open up the dev tools, get to the console. Now if we change it here, you're not seeing any events come through. Do we get a window? Oh, await is only valid in async functions. And the top level bodies of modules. Okay. So we're going to need to do promise in text. Well, this will be fine for the moment. Window Tauri event. Okay, so we got our window object. Now if we change the color here, we're getting events. And we get a payload, of which it seems that we do need to parse it because it's stringified. But that's perfectly fine. So what we can do is const color equals json.parse event.payload. Well, here we'll just say payload. Payload, and then const color from payload. And now we can say window. Well, I guess we just say document dot is it style? Document.body.style.background color equals color. Now it's not transparent, so we need to toggle that on. We can do that. But we're starting to roll here. When we create the window, we want to enable this. So we already have decorations off, so we just need transparent true. Let's close this one, open up a new one. So now we can do like smoky mode. Let's put it up just a little bit. We'll go a little bit more grayscale with it. So look at that. Smoky mode screenshot. We're effectively in CSS land at this point. So anything we can do with CSS, we can do here. Like we can set, I mean, I was gonna say we could set transitions, but I kind of like it just updating immediate, like the immediate update feels nice. Now it is a window that's on top, so there's nothing that you can. I mean, we it is a window, so we can layer it like that. Um, but I can't select or anything in here. And it's anytime I try to click in here, it starts to drag it. So you can't use it as like a visibility layer. Like this is pretty strictly going to be more of a way to like hide. So we're not doing too bad on time. We've got the color picker here. So now the only question would be, can we do like a color dropper or something? Is my camera, am I glitching? I think there's something. Yeah, you saw it? Okay. I think there's something going funky with the 8 mini that I have. I thought for a while it was maybe overheating. It could still be. Maybe I might end up having to like try opening it up and cleaning it out. I don't know. Okay, so we got stuff rolling here. We've got multiple windows. We can make them all different colors. Close. We can work on the CSS a little bit, but we're kind of focusing on the functionality for the moment. I think that's a good spot to. Let's just go ahead and commit up what we have. And let's see if we can. How difficult it's going to be to do like a color grabber. If that's something that is involved, we might not bother doing it on stream. We might not bother doing it today. But let's at least kind of look into it. Add color picker to change window color. I do sign my commits. So go ahead and do that. Okay, we got that pushed out. Let's see if we can find some way to do the screenshot, or well, grab the file, the color grabber. I have a strong suspicion that we're going to want to do that on the Rust side, because if we were thinking JavaScript and code in the web view, we're mostly just able to operate within the web view. If we do it on the Rust side of things, we theoretically have access to anything that Rust can do within security parameters and such. But we can kind of do all the like operating system level type functionality. So I have a very strong suspicion that it's going to make sense to try to do this on the Rust side of things. So what we're going to look at is go to crates.io. I'm just going to search for color. So like there's a couple crates that are color specific. Terminals. Oh, interesting. So there's color libraries to do kind of conversions between stuff. Maybe color picker. Simple terminal color picker. So I think that's going to be more of the like what we just implemented. color grab. Yeah, so I think this is mostly about the specific color itself. We might need to do something like grab a screenshot. Rust, color, Rust, grab color under cursor. C++, ha. Grab, capture the mouse cursor. How to change cursor color. It seems like there might not be a quick way to do that on the Rust side of things. And this might end up being too one of those things that, especially if there isn't a crate for it, this might end up being one of those things that we need to deal with implementation of different OSs. Thanks for the follow, Mewtwo. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Mewtwo 007. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. I can't get the Pokemon sound out of my head though now. Funny how brains work. All right. Eyedropper. Eyedropper might be a good term to search for. I don't think that link was going to help us specifically, but yeah, look at that. Okay. The HTML pair. Oh, does it? Does it work outside of the thing? That one that we were using? Or are you talking about the one in the Chrome browser? Not sure about that, Lib. Okay. So you were just talking about the Chrome browser. Yeah, that looks like. I mean, I know there's. So like, there's this. So that might be browser specific. But this looks. Pick a color. Turn. Eyedropper. Okay, so this is an actual like implementation, and they're making an app. We don't need the app, we just need the functionality. So let's go ahead and check out what they're using as far as their. I don't get text. I don't recognize a couple of these. There's some GTK, which is. GTK is the Linux implementation of the web view slash browser. Input type picker, but it uses the browser's picker. Yeah, that could work. That could work. Let's go ahead and try it. Input type picker. Oh, type color. Good thing I can read. Yeah, you are correct about that. We might not even need to use this color picker. We might be able to just use this. Oh, oh man. Can I do transparency in here too? B1 Mind coming through. Um, we're gonna do that. This seems to be the way to go. So input type color. Now I don't necessarily need transparency for the picker, but if we can, in that like color picker that pops up, and I mean we can always style it a little bit too, but this color picker that comes up, if we can just like trigger or turn on the ability to do transparency, I think this is gonna by far and away be the way to go. So Edge has it. Safari seems fine. I don't know what this list is. And I don't know what GTK. But I'm guessing if it's in Safari, we might be fine. Okay, let's see. Is there a way to do without alpha channel? I mean, it's fine. We can add another input for alpha. Alpha is, if we look at this implementation, it's just a few extra characters in the end there. So we might be able to just make the alpha work. RGB color will result in value. In particular, you can't use CSS standard color names. That's fine. In addition, colors within an alpha channel are not supported. Okay, so that's fine. So we can have this color picker strictly be the to pick the color, because then that'll let you do like I want to match this color exactly. Then we can have a slider or something for the transparency. So let's swap out this. Let's go ahead and remove this. So we're doing an input element. We are going to say I think we go something like this. Type color, value equals window.color. Now we got to remember that color is not going to be able to contain the transparency because that's not going to trickle back or whatever the word I'm looking for is. That's not going to. We can set the color, but then when we want to have the color display in the picker itself, that can't have the transparency. This button is going to be the thing that removes. So we are just going to switch this to be an X. We can worry about how it looks afterwards. Yeah, this is going to be nice. Okay. Now we got to do an on change. On change this, and we want to do set window color. So we are getting. Now our events and such are probably going to be different, so we need to keep that in mind. Converting circular structure JSON. So we are getting the event. So this now becomes an event. Let's go ahead and log out the event. We're going to comment this out for the time being. Oh boy, oh boy. Refresh. Now, we should be able to get the target and there should be a value coming through. And it's interesting too that they've got. So like that's an input. We put a value in there. It should be the window.color, which should come through. So it seems to be coming through as black originally, which is what we want. There's a default color. So there's a change event, and the change event is update all. Okay. So it should be in the event. We just need to figure out what value we can use from the event. I was just saying inner text, but that I don't think is. I think inner text is still going to say the color that it's displaying, which is currently black. So if we look at it, inner text, where'd you go? Inner text is empty. The inner text is empty. Okay. So where do we get the event? Native event is trusted. I mean, I think I want to keep the default functionality here. Value? Event.value, you think? I know this logging that out doesn't always show all of the actual options there. Maybe event.target.value. Great minds. Okay. Yeah. So that seems to be it. So we can say the const color equals this. There we go. Hey, there we go. Okay. So look at that. And now we can do a color picker and we're going to match that exactly. And now that's cool. Props. That was a very good recommendation. Yes, HTML. Speaking of HTML, can we now do a slider? I don't know. HTML, no, let's say transparency value to hex. So we need to convert that to, yes, this. So you can calculate it. Okay. Percent to hex. There we go. So what we're gonna do is have, we'll just toss this helper up here. We are going to have the color and we're going to have alpha. And we're always going to represent the alpha via the hex value. So we're going to say ff. And now when we're talking in colors here and we're doing all of this, we're strictly going to be, we're going to keep those completely separate. And then in our background color here, what we can do is set this to be window color plus the alpha, window.alpha. So now let's set the default to something that's, we'll say 40. So that should give us a default. There we go. So we've got the transparency there, and we just need to pass it through and consider it in our main window now. So we'll set ff. We want to have an input for the color. We want to have an input of range now. This little Like we need like an icon or something there. I don't know why it's not actually doing the value. Where's color? Color. So like I guess I should expect to see the color there. Input type color. So should I suppose I go like this. I don't know. It feels funny that it's not actually putting the color in there. Type color ID label color. So this is doing, it's updating a query string. P, watch the paragraph colors change. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. Um, but that picker, the picker has the color in there. And in our app, the picker is just empty. Okay, the HTML has a couple of paragraphs of type color with the ID color well. Because the default value equals that needs a default. It should be getting the default from our value. So here, if we look at the HTML for it, I guess it's type color. So that this should be coming in and setting it as this. Why is it not? Console.log. And you know what? I just realized too that I might be blitzing my the window object, color window. We'll call this color window instead. That was a poor name choice. Windows, color window. What did I miss? There is an unexpected token in my div. Oh, no. Close, close. Does it not like that? That's not it. So this closes that. Set window color. What am I missing? Oh. That was a silly error. Okay. Oh. And I also need to, oh boy. Hashtag Friday, I guess. Okay. Log. We should be getting the color. we are logging color window. So dot color should be, yeah, so it starts off with a color, so it should have a color there. But for some reason it's not actually defined in the value. So if we do value equals, it didn't seem to change it. I think you're on the right track, but I don't know why it's not. It seems like I've got it all set up correctly. Type on change value. It's coming through in the background color, so like that's definitely defined. I could try doing I mean, it's definitely not taking any value there. It's set, though. So, like, that's coming through. Maybe it needs a height and width. You have a height and width on the demo you made for some reason. Input. There's a margin. You might be right. It might just not be big enough. Because there is a little line there, so it could very well just be that we we need to help it out a little bit. So input. Input button, margin. I gave it padding already. Let's just take the padding off for a moment. Padding. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna just take all of the help off of the input itself. Padding squashed it. Padding squashed it. That's fine, that's fine. Here, let's just grab this whole jazz and we'll take out the padding. We'll see what that looks like. I think I might actually want the margin in there. Adding margin. Maybe I don't want. I don't think I want the border. Maybe I don't want the margin. I bet you that's why you added a height on there. Because I do want a little bit of padding on there, I think. But if I put the padding on there, it squishes it too much. So if I do input type color, and we say input, how do you do CSS for the type? Is it type equals color? Is this how you do it? Hey, okay, got it. 0.6. So what's the height changing? Guess I need to do it bigger. Did you do height and width or just the height? Okay, definitely I need to back off on the padding. So I think we go like this and we do two. There's no reasoning behind any of this. 0.8. And 2 and 4. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty amusing. You had a dream about a Tauri app without the title bar. Wait, without the title bar, I'll Electron vs code style and saw a related commit recently. I mean, are you saying that that's a new thing? So we don't have a title bar right now. I do like it. There's a discussion to be had with having native controls because there's different expectations on different OSs as far as the stoplights on Mac versus the X maximize buttons on Windows and positional. I mean, you could get that all to work, and you just have to do it with CSS. But it's nice to just like have that built in. You know, you've brought it up a few times now, but we've talked within the team to have like a title bar component that does that, hooks up all the functionality, and has some like CSS. And you can kind of just include the component. That probably is something now we're at the point where it makes sense to push forward on that. So if you're looking for something to commit, that might be a good thing to bring up and propose. It's one of those things that is likely going to require a whole bunch of discussion because reasons, but yeah, that would be nifty. Okay, so our buttons are kind of wonky here. Does our button have any margin in there? It's just padding. Our section probably does not have any padding though, which is why we're getting let's just do padding on both. Oh, no, that's not what we want. Got a div within there that we're setting that. Let's do color section maybe. It's going to be sections, so it's going to be inheriting that container. We'll call it color container. 3 days of October. 3 days of Hacktoberfest left. Let's go. Yes. I've definitely my fun dev is the amount that I've been doing recently has kind of gone off a cliff. Been taking a bit of a break, and in all the previous years, I had all my I hit the whatever the goal post that they set every year, like within like 3 days of every Hacktoberfest for the past few years. Yeah, not this year. Burnout is a real thing, let me tell you. Okay, so we got section. We'll do a color. What did I name it now? Color container. We'll just say padding to NVH. You're just crawling out of a semi-burnout. Yeah. It's hard. I kind of feel like it's one of these industries too that, I mean, every industry is sort of like, this is like corporate burnout mentality now, where like every job I feel like has some sort of like capitalist expectation of like burning people out effectively. So I'm not gonna sit here on a pedestal and say it's just tech industry specific or anything, but it definitely feels like it's kind of encouraged. Take care of yourself. I don't know what else, what else we can say past that. It's going to be hard to change this at an industry level. Display flex. Align item center maybe. I thought one of these would work. There we go. Flex gap. No. There's like a flex gap or something, isn't there? Yeah, just gap. Call it column. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'll take it. So we got that. Now we need to get a range input in there for the transparency, and I think we are golden. Input type equals range. We'll just do the same, I guess, on change. And we'll do alpha. I guess set window alpha maybe. We'll just have two. So the event that we're sending through is going to be the value. You know what we're going to do? I'm actually going to use the same. This might be a little bit cursed, but we're going to use the same one. And what I'm going to do is, so we're going to get the color. And we're passing through strictly just the color now anyways. So what we're going to say is the color is going to be the value. We'll say changed value. So this value is either going to have, this might break with the hex stuff. When I say hex stuff, I don't know if this matters or if that changes anything. Okay, let's just log this out for now. Event, console.log event. I want to make sure that we're not that we're always getting a hex value, and I think we might not actually always get a hex value. So if we create a new one, we change the color. Whoa. Oh, okay. It showed up just below it, and I thought my color was like leaking out of the container. So if we do color target value, what is our value going to be? Oh yeah, that's why I didn't see before. I needed to expand it value. So that's the actual hex value. So if I go to like HSL and I say, well, I want to do 45. That's going to give me another event with another target and another value. Is it still going to be hex? It is always hex. Good. So what we can do here is we can say color change. Now this is either going to come through as a value or hex. So what we can do then is we are changing either the color. So if the window ID matches, we can say if color change starts with this, then we are changing the color. Else if color, well, I guess it's just else then. We're assuming it's going to be transparency. So window dot alpha equals color change. So then what we end up having is let color equals null. Just in case, we'll say if color, and we can now do color equals window, basically the starting value. Where did I write it? Here. I'm actually going to change this as well to say color window. Return color window. Okay. So now we should be able to say this will do that. We'll get into window, and now we can change our transparency. except our minimum and maximums aren't quite set on this, but we can fix it. Range. So a min, max, and a value. Oh, wait. It was just changing, and all I'm doing is appending that color on there. Something might be a little funky on how we have it set. Okay. The default is 1, so that is fine. And it does do a min and max of that. That's what I expect. Why is it not going all the way left to right? Ooh, okay. I got, what happened here? I got multiple Tauri windows open. Whoa. Okay, we're just gonna cancel. So I don't have to set that. So the default is 0 and 100. So I shouldn't have to set those. It is possible that my default CSS for input is doing some funky. So what we'll do is something of the same sort, where we are going to specifically color range. So we do have some padding. I'm guessing it's the padding that is. Oh, weird. All right, let's take a look at the HTML for that. It does look like a padding thing. So if we say padding, this is going to be, if left is omitted is the same as the right, if bottom is omitted is the same as the top. We're just going to do this. Because I think that's going to be the most clear. Left. Why is it doing that? We do still have input there, or we still do have padding there. Whoop. Back. Styles. Padding. So it's my, oh, did it not like refresh? Input type range. I put it on the wrong one. Silly me. There we go. Okay. Now it's a bit wonky. There we go. And I think we do, this is a 7.5. And I would kind of like this color centered. So we're going to set this to be, I'm going to just say 4 and 4. Nope. I guess really we just want to set in the flex. Okay. So in our color container, we want to say place content that and flex basis. Is it basis? There should be one that I can center it in the middle. I mean, I've got a place content center. Align maybe? Align items? Is that what it is? Okay. I can never remember. I always end up having to try. There we go. Yep. Good call. Oh, okay. Oh, whoa. Is it just window open? Okay, something is kind of going wonky here. I think it has something to do with the, I'm not converting the hex. Alpha 3. Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be that. Okay, so I need to convert the percentage to hex. So when we set, so we've got an alpha right there. So when we set the alpha, we want to do percentage to hex because we're always going to end up getting a number there. This is the, I don't actually get the event until I click out, which is unfortunate. But it's not the end of the world. You always get the axis confused between align items and justify content. I'm not gonna lie. This is probably the first time I tried to do flex without going to the CSS tricks article on Flexbox. I'm kind of proud of myself that I actually remembered stuff. It's there's a lot. Never tell me that CSS is not engineering. It is a whole skill set of its own. And you know, you end up getting into all the design stuff. I'm never going to the Flex Auto impressed me. I'm not gonna lie, the autocomplete in VS Code, it's sort of a lifesaver in this situation. But especially since I've been reading more Rust, and VS Code has been like helping me out with that, I've definitely been paying more attention to it. Okay, so we've got this. Gray is sort of not fun. And I don't know if I like the shadow and outline there either. I'm not really using inputs other than these two. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm just gonna grab the pieces that I want on each and get rid of this. I'm not really doing anything with fonts or background colors or anything like that. So like, yeah, I like that better. And we'll just be very specific about our inputs here. And then our range we can set. I don't know what the color for this little picker is. So like this. I'm honestly I'm kind of okay with blue. Google started listening because I said blue. um ID step slider vertical, that's kind of dope. Step horizontal range control value. Writing mode, space between. So that's adding labels. I'm not seeing anything about the color of the little picker thing. Let's just open up the dev tools here. Um, hmm. It's not letting me change anything. I mean, it's got to be color, right? Well, blue. I don't see any blue in here. What if that's a default thing? Let's just try color. Blue. No. What are my options? Stroke? Is it a stroke thing? Stop color. Nope. Color scheme, color rendering. How do you change the color picker? Come on. I'm not seeing anything that is helping me out here. Background color, accent color. Oh, accent color. Okay. I think I need to do I almost want to do like the inverse of it. But I don't know that there's going to be a good way to do it. Accent color. Uh, hmm. It's not access color? Could do a CSS variable. Come on. Oh, to change it? I mean, honestly, I'm probably okay just. Yeah, I mean, definitely accents color. Dynamic color change. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm fine just for to do a accent color right now. What is current color? I wonder what that's inheriting from. It doesn't seem like it's coming through though. Input type range accent color. Yeah, it doesn't seem to actually change it. Invalid property value. Oh, does it just require Oh, ha 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 ha. Too much JavaScript. Okay. Um Alice blue is kind of nice, right? No. That's not really that blue, is it? Oh. Oh, on the highlight. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. Okay. Now I guess the only other thing is when the color changes. I mean, we'd be sending a lot of events, but I kind of like it when it changes when you change it in here. So that would be the only other thing that I would be curious to try. We do need to set that to max from the get-go though. Range. So alpha is a value, so we almost need the opposite. So we need a percent to hex and then a back. Um, Granted, I guess I could just do. Could I just say 100? And just let it do well, that's not working. But I don't think this works either. I'm just gonna remove that. I don't think it's adding anything for us here. Now if I do value equal or default value equals 100. There we go. Yeah, I think we're there. Um, let's just see if we can do a different event rather than on change. So there's load. Input events are fired anytime a new adjustment is made. Do functions that deal with color changes. So there's an input event, changes the color. So there's two situations that they're dealing with. They've got, we move it around and it's updating the top. Okay, point this way. Ugh. The top one is updating. Bottom one doesn't update until I click out. And that's what they're trying to say. So we've got an update first and an update all. Update first is called in response to the input event. It changes the color of the first paragraph in the document to match the new color of the every time an adjustment is made. Okay, so there's a change event and an input event. Yeah. No, I'm sitting here like grabbing a React component because I don't even think to check. And people in mind was like, why don't you try that? And I'm like, legit, like mind blown moment there. Default value color picker. Oh, okay. So we need to do, rather than on change, we want to do on input. And that should fire it off. We're going to get a lot of events. I might end up pulling up the I mean, it's firing off all the events. So what I am curious about will pop up on the task manager here. And I don't think it's gonna dox myself too much here, but if we pull open our task manager, now this doesn't necessarily have everything, but it should give us a pretty good representation, I think, if we are changing this. We're firing off a lot of events here. So anytime this shifts, we're firing off an event. It does a little bit of compute, but it drops down back pretty quick. Here we go. I can straight up use this for come on, window. There we go. That's cool. That's cool. So now if we're playing around with this, we can watch our processor. And we're getting a little bit of lag there. I didn't even notice that until I started looking at it. So like I'm bouncing around here. We're getting some lag. Some of it might be because I'm streaming. I can actually watch my average time to render frames go up when I'm doing this. It's not a big amount, and I'm not really skipping frames. But it adds an extra, what, 50% to my time for average time to render frames for OBS. So it's not insignificant. It might make sense to do generally like a debounce sort of thing. Like we don't need to literally change every time we move it. Something, yeah, debounce the color change to 20 milliseconds. Yeah. I mean, Like we could potentially do something like that, and or we could do a hmm. We could do. No, I'm not gonna bother. So what I was thinking, I was like, I could do that quick, but like you could make a checkbox or something for like low power mode, where it only changes the color after you've finished selecting your color and click out of it. Um, but honestly, like this isn't bad. Because I mean, how much are you going to be doing this? And it's kind of a cool measure on like how fast. So like this is the same deal. We can do probably the same. Switch it to on input. Range. I'm gonna assume that the it's also has that event. Adding hash. My quick scroll didn't tell me, so I'm just gonna try it. We'll switch this to on input. Close, close, close. Yeah. Still curious why it lags. So the reason it's lagging, um, and this might be part of it too. Watch this. We're logging. And this is running in dev mode. So that could very well be a big part of the reason that we're seeing a lot of our lag. Well, I mean, it's not really lag. It's just the compute goes up because we're sending every time that cursor moves, we're sending another event. And so that communication between them, that's what's causing the CPU to, I'm not going to really say spike. I don't think spike is the right word. It definitely goes up, but it's not like a huge amount. So if I just take off all my helper stuff here, and we open this back up here, we will refresh just to be certain. So we got our window, we got our process here. We are still getting a little bit, and we're not getting the, and we're not doing the logs anymore. So if we close this, no more dev tools. A little bit faster. So we don't have the dev tools open, so we're not getting, I mean, we're not doing any logs. So there must be like that a communication. Does that show up in the network tab? That I'm actually curious about that. No, it doesn't. I thought it might show up in the network tab. Um, no. Um, so I think that's part of it is just having the dev tools open means that there's more like monitoring going on. So the I think probably the last thing that's worth checking is if we run this with Tauri build, if we run the release app directly. Oh, I haven't changed the bundle identifier yet. So we can build it. Yeah, updating the elements in the dev tools real time. I would have expected taking off the console.logs to make a bigger difference, honestly. Um, but I think it's something like that going on. And we'll do this build, get a release build, and then we'll try that out. I suspect that that's going to be even faster, and we'll probably not see much lag. There is. This is definitely not going to be a today thing, but it would actually be kind of fun to. This is a neat idea potentially. There is mobile support on the main branch of Tauri. I'm pretty certain. Um, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna. I don't know why I'm scrolling through. I'm not gonna find it. I'm pretty sure. Um, Wii U has been working on mobile support, and I think it's on the main branch already. We could potentially get this to work on mobile, and I would actually be very curious to see how it works there. I don't know how the multiple windows is going to even work on mobile. To be honest, I haven't kept up with that. Um, but I think this the release build is going to run faster. I suspect that we're going to see a little bit of a speed increase and potentially not noticeable. Um, I am actually running off of a laptop right now, so the stream is on a laptop. It's not a bad laptop. Like it has an i9 on it that probably thermal throttles really quickly, and it's only a few years old, but it is a laptop, and I am streaming. So 15% when I'm moving the cursor around and sending all those events. I don't know. It's hard to say if that's high or not. I don't think that's awful. I think the best way would be to debounce, do like you were saying, TJW, something like a 20 millisecond debounce or something. But if it ends up not being an issue, I don't really see a good reason to fix it. So we'll wait for this release build. We'll check that, see how it looks. Otherwise, I think we kind of knocked out all the stuff that we were looking to do today. Yeah. The as far as other stuff to do with the project, it's I was expecting this eyedropper to be a much bigger deal, but having it work out of the web view is really nifty. I'm surprised it ended up being as easy as it was. What else can we do with this? I think we've kind of reached the end of this project as far as things that we could play around with. Um, we're opening up multiple windows. I suppose we do need to add a way that we can close it now because we don't have decorations. That is going to be an issue. Um, oh, you got ad bombed. Wow. Yeah, I can't really turn those off. Unfortunate. Um, it's the trade off of channel point redemptions versus ads. the Yeah. So I don't know that there's much else that we can do with this project because we've got multiple windows, we've got communication between the windows. Um, that's kind of all the big things that I wanted to do with this. And so the only other thing that I think that we need to do, and I don't know that I'm going to do it on stream, is we need to add in the controls because we don't have a way to close this now because we have turned off the decorations for the window so we could get transparency, which honestly, I mean, I guess the transparency looks nice. There is the issue with you can't put it in the App Store, but also I don't really feel like I need to put this in the App Store. So we probably are fine keeping the decorations set to false for review. This is what we're talking about. So it's, I mean, there's trade-offs. Well, I'll get this committed up. Probably set up some builds to do a release so people can download it, and we can see how it looks on Mac. I'm not even sure how this that color eyedropper picker. I have no idea how that's going to look on Mac and on Linux, and if those are going to work. So, that's something to try, and that might inform the decision around this. We're almost there. 3 more crates. You can do it. You can do it, little computer. So once it does a build, it'll show up on the target directory. We'll get a .msi on Windows. We'll get a .msi to do the actual install, but it'll include a .exe that we can run directly. So we don't need to install it on the system. Mac OS defaults to what looks like a palette by default. Okay. Almost there. So let's work on the MSI right now, and done. Okay, so we can run it. So that's interesting. I don't know if y'all saw what happened there. When we run this opens up. That looks good. Creating a window creates a new one. I think what is happening is it's not finding this colors.html. So it's interesting that it works in dev, but it doesn't work when we have run the release. So like all of this stuff still works, and it's still closing the window, but it's just opening up the wrong HTML. So I think what we need to do is, it is falling back. I'm going to assume that it is getting an error because it doesn't have that HTML file bundled in there. And it is falling back to the default index.html, which means that we need to make sure to inform it to bundle it with. So there's an external bin. I'm going to pass to binaries to embed with your application. All right, so if we're getting a dist, our build setup is doing v to build, and it's putting it in the dist, I believe. Okay. So this is a Vite thing. We are setting the build to be ES 2021, Chrome 100, and Safari. We are, not minifying for Tauri debug. So I think really what we want to do, we just need it in the dist directory. Well, let's test it first just to make sure. What I'm going to do is copy it in there. It's not going to delete it. I don't think it clears out that directory when we build. So if we run the build again, it should repackage it. Oh, it did. I don't know if this is going to work if I can paste it in there fast enough. So I think it might be grabbing that whole dist directory. So vite copy file. I think we're going to have to do something like this. Static asset. Oh, there's a... Put it in like a static folder or something, right? If you have assets that are never referenced in source code, must retain the exact same file name. Okay, so we can make a prod or public directory. Got it. And I'm guessing Vite assumes that your file is going to be called index.html. So it's still opening it. All right, so let's copy this into public. We'll build. I don't know if it's going to work in the dev now. So that's going to be interesting. We'll have to play around a little bit with that file path, I suspect. Because when we do in here, when we are calling new window, we are setting the URL there. And I had commented when we were first looking at this, I don't know what that URL is relative to. Is it relative to this file? Up 2 levels? This is coming out of, this is sort of a Tauri thing, so is it relative to src Tauri? So we might end up having to play around with that. A local file path or route. Local file path routes such as that or that is appended to the application URL. So we might be able to actually say just slash colors.html. That might be enough because I think that'll end up working in both. Okay. So we got that. I'm going to run the dev mode now to see if it broke. And if it did, then we're going to have to change that path. So the way it does routing for the web view is sort of like a single page app-ish. This main window opens up like through to index.html. Okay. So I mean, that works. All right, let's do. I got the builds there still. Let's go ahead and check out our um, process manager. Again, caveats, this isn't going to show us everything. And we could probably rename some of these titles, but it is fine. You can see opening up a new window. And now when we move this around, we're still getting up into this 15, 16, 20. It's faster. It's definitely faster. I can see it trailing though. So it's not, we might still potentially want to do like a debounce. But this is probably fast enough that, like, honestly, I'm doing that. I'm doing this. I don't think it's going to be that noticeable because that CPU drops real quick there. Goes up a little bit, comes right back down to like 1 or 2% on my machine. Now it's down to 0. So this, like, it's the WebView windows are pretty efficient, and even on memory they're not too bad. So these extra windows are only taking up a couple extra, like 10 megabytes once they go into like sleep. I think it's kind of okay, honestly. I think to sort of finish this off, we do a bar on the top so we can close the window. um, I don't know that we need to like have an minimize option or anything. Maybe. I suppose if you're putting a whole bunch of windows and stuff, you might want to just minimize this so you can't see it. Um, but yeah, minimize, close, and this project has got a good chunk of it done. I don't know if that's just too much. It's shippable. It is shippable. So I'm gonna call it a win. Yeah, I'm happy with where we got. We'll probably do a different project next stream. We are, I guess we're coming into a bunch of vacation time here. Thanksgiving time and Veterans Day and whatnot. So I might end up skipping a couple streams here, but we'll pick out a new, probably Tauri project. But there is potentially some WebGL 3D stuff that I want to try again. We have the overlay. It does the 3GS scene. It does the drops. This chat right there is a different browser source. Did they not drop? Are they not dropping on the screen? Oh, did I break it? Weird. I got nothing. It worked earlier. Tech, I tell you. So this is a different browser source right now. I'm tempted to actually try throwing that into 3GS and see if we can kind of put physics around the chat. I think that might be kind of fun because we got that little pop-up thing that comes up. I think it would be pretty neat to put that in 3GS, remove the pop-up, have it go whoop, and drop, and then slide back in when it's done. Something like that I think would be kind of fun. And we've got a lot of the setup to do it already. So I think we can skip past all the setup and right into the playing around with 3JS and HTML elements in 3JS. So that might be a project coming up. But we'll probably do Tauri stuff for another couple streams here. We'll have to figure out a new project though, because I think this is done. So sweet. Yeah. Have a good weekend. Happy Friday. Keep experimenting with stuff. Break it and build it back up. See you next time. Bye.